The Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition's biannual Mock DUI event was held at EAC's John Mickelson Field on Thursday to a receptive audience of local 9th and 10th grade students. The event is a real-time depiction of a DUI-involved collision and plays out with real first responders just as it would in real life. This year's narrator was Brooks Knight of the Thatcher Police Department.
I totally understand you guys have been to some programs before that it's just like, hey man, I'm here. They put me on the bus, they told me to be here. This is not one of those deals. Just let it sink in. So it takes a lot to put one of these deals on. This is Kathy Grimes with the Substance Abuse Coalition. Let's give her a big round of applause. She is the mastermind behind everything. So, anyway. Hey guys, I just want to point something out to you real quick, that you're going to see a response time from the police and medical professionals and the helicopters of relatively probably 1 minute. But let's keep in mind of the moment of silence that we're having right now, where these people have just experienced a head-on collision. There's several injuries, bleeding internally and things like that, and there's nobody at this time to help. When you end up somewhere such as Fort Thomas, out there in Eden, some of these rural areas, you're going to be sitting there basically crushed for several minutes. The tool that rescues the personnel out of the vehicles, and the hearse is a rescue tool, also called the jaws of life. It can exert 7,000 pounds of pressure at the tips. This presents a certain amount of danger to the victims and the rescuers, which is why the victims are covered and the rescuers are wearing protective clothing.
After the simulation was complete, Lynn Grandma Smith spoke to the audience about her family's loss due to alcohol and substance abuse.
My husband and I have buried 2 sons, a grandson, and we have a child in prison. And every bit of the losses that we've experienced have come from their use of alcohol and drugs. Our son died in the dirt with a car on top of him, and his cousin standing beside him screaming, "No, it can't be him." Our oldest boy died in his home. Our grandson died as a cause of a car crash. And our child is in prison, an adult child, because of abuse of alcohol and or drugs. After the police have said you're dead, you can't hardly function, you can't hardly think, you can't hardly move. All you want to do is go to bed and pull the covers over your head and say, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and this is not going to be my reality. And you have to take money you don't have and plan a funeral for a child who you don't want to be dead. What your parents are doing after you die is horrible.
You know home. Put yourselves in the shoes of the parent. If that was your brother or your sister or a relative, and you sit there helplessly watching the professionals as they suffer as well, knowing there's nothing else that could have been done. It starts with you guys
grab a couple people up,
making the decision not to drink and drive impaired. We understand, everybody here, all the police, fire, and everything like that have been in your guys' shoes. We've all been in high school before. It may surprise you, but a few of our law enforcement people have consumed alcohol underage. We've been there, done it, and have the t-shirt. But we want you guys to remember, if you choose to do that, please don't choose to get behind the wheel. Everybody here, your parents would rather have the conversation with us about having to go to court for an underage consumption ticket and paying a $100 fine. We don't want to have the conversation with your parents. of what funeral home they need to go to, and how much their funeral's going to cost, and how much the medical expenses are going to be. Nonetheless, that their daughter or son is going to be in jail for the next 10 years of their life for second-degree murder or manslaughter. It's a lot easier to have those simpler conversations if you make the wrong choice, but don't magnify it by getting behind a vehicle. Brian Douglas has showed up. He has now taken the body. They'll put it in the hearse and he will be transported to the funeral home.
The final speaker of the event was Graham County Chief Deputy County Attorney Alan Perkins, who informed the students of the prosecutorial repercussions of DUI charges and recalled a recent closed case in which the impaired driver was sentenced to 19 years in prison after causing the death of a man and severely injuring his wife.
But when the two cars collided, the entire driver's side in the engine compartment was ripped away. It no longer existed. Clear back to the driver's compartment. The driver of that vehicle threw his arms across his wife to try to protect her, but when you throw your top half to the right, the compensation is your bottom half goes to the left. That entire part of the vehicle was torn away. His left leg was ripped entirely off of his body, and his left foot ended up in the road sitting about 100 feet down the road. His upper half and his right leg were ejected not forward but backward into the rear right passenger seat where he came to rest behind his wife. He was killed instantly. His wife was seriously injured. Massive broken bones. Every bone in the left side of her body was broken. Her face was broken. She will be permanently impaired. But maybe the worst part of it was, after it happened, and because this was Bylass, not here with first responders immediately available, she sat in the front passenger seat of that car with the remains of her husband immediately behind her, and she didn't know where he was. And they sat there for minutes that probably seemed like hours. His life was taken. Her life was ruined. Let's talk about the defendant for a minute. He ended up on his top. He was able to get out of the vehicle with some assistance, but his left leg, his left hip was broken, and he's had 4 reconstructive surgeries on that hip. He cannot walk. He will be in a wheelchair probably for the rest of his life. Eventually he may have that leg removed. And he's going to spend the next 19 years of his life in prison.
The event was organized by the Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition and its director, Kathy Grimes.
First of all, help me give Officer Brooks a big round of applause. He did a great job with the narrating our program today. Also, so many people contributed to this event. Our goal is to protect you and help you and give you every tool you need to be successful. We truly, truly care about you. We have a youth leadership group. Please come get involved with us. Help us educate your peers. We want your help. Please come get involved. Thank you to all of our first responders today. We couldn't do this without you. And you know what? In the past, we've had groups that were laughing when things were happening and were showing some disrespect. I am truly, truly grateful. You guys were an amazing audience, and you guys need to give yourselves a round of applause because you did show respect, and I do appreciate that very much.
Reporting from Thatcher for the Gila Herald, I'm John Johnson.